Hello, welcome to Let's Go Farming, and today we're going to learn about one of Zambia's natural resources found in Western Province. We are here at Zambia Agriculture Research Institute Simulumbe Research Station, where production of cashew nuts is done. We're going to learn more on the health benefits found in cashew nuts and how these nuts can add to the national development economically. My name is Mutinta Nyanga, so let's just stay tuned as we learn more from the experts.
Welcome. Today on Let's Go Farming, you are at the Simulumbe Research Station, where we grow cashew nuts, green gold, that will help you sustain yourself. My name's Mukela Inyambo. I'm a senior researcher at Simulumbe Research Station. With me is Mr. Yawa Kabesanu, who is going to demonstrate on how we plant cashew from the first stage until the planting of cashew in the field. Now, Mr. Yawa will demonstrate on how we do flotation tests. Flotation test is meant to see the floaters and the sinkers. So we are very much interested in the seed that is sinking, so that we put it on the pre-germination bed. The ones that are floating, Mr. Yaba is removing them from the water so that he puts them aside. The reason why they are floating is because they have or they occupy air spaces. Hence, they are not good for planting. As you can see, those are the ones that are sinking. The sinkers, he will further collect them from there, take them to what we call a pre-germination bed. He is now collecting the sinkers and taking them to where he is going to pre-germinate them. That's a pre-germination bed where Mr. Yaba Kabesano is pouring the seed. He will later cover the seeds with a jute bag or a sisal bag for a certain period of time. He will then be applying water on the pre-germination bed so that he can aid or help the seed to imbibe water, then break after some time. Water on the pre-germination bed takes about 2 weeks. But you need to be checking the bed for those nuts that are cracking. So now, Mr. Yaba goes back to his pre-germination bed to check which ones have cracked. After finding one that has cracked, then you will later plant them in your polythene pot. He makes a hole in the middle, then plant them in your polythene pot. After planting them in your polythene pot, you cover them a bit and continue watering until you see the germination of a plant. So now, Mr. Yaba has sown the seed in the polythene pot. Then he waters using a cane. Watering is done twice a day, in the morning and in the evenings. After you are done with your watering, you keep on checking for the germination of your seed. After 45 days, you perform what we call grafting. Stay tuned as I take you to the process where grafting is done. That is the second stage. Welcome back to the next stage where we perform what we call grafting. In this nursery, you will see that there are what we call root stocks that are coming from pre-germination bed to this stage. So it takes us about 45 days or less. What determines that is the maturity of the first two bottom leaves. When the two bottom leaves are mature, you check, then that is when you perform grafting, as Mr. Yawa will start demonstrating how grafting is done. He will cut the top part and just leave the two bottom leaves, the matured one. After leaving the two bottom leaves, he will cut a cleft in between. And that cleft is supposed to be 2 centimeters to 3 centimeters. So that it gives you a good space for performing grafting. Mr. Yaba will get his scion from a selected elite mother tree. Not from any other tree, but those that are selected by the Zambia Agricultural Research Institute. Those are what we call good quality planting materials. So that is the one. Now he's going to insert it in that cleft that he cut for about 2 to 3 centimeters. He has inserted it. He will get paraffin and now start tying the rootstock and the scion so that they can properly attach to each other. This kind of grafting is called the softwood grafting. The rootstock is supposed to be soft, then the scion is hard so that it easily attaches. Farmers, we have 3 types of polypods where you plant. Depending on how you want the plants to be stored, you can use the different pots. The one that Mr. Yaba was using to graft, this stays for just a season. This is a 1 liter pot. A 1 liter pot stays for a season because the manure in this pot will be depleted. Hence, the crop will start dying because of lack of manure. But if you want it to stay for more than 2 to 3 years, you use a different pot size, which is a 2 liter pot. That will enable you to keep the plant for more than 2 years. Follow me as we go to plant now in the field. Welcome, farmers, to our 3rd stage, where you've grafted your cashew tree and now you want to go and plant in your field. So the first thing that you do is to do a field layout with the help of professionals. You do a field layout 12 by 12 meters, 12 in length and 12 in width. After you are done, you see, 12 in length and 12 in width. After you are done with your layout, now you perform what we call digging of your planting hole. The planting hole should be 60 centimeters by 60 centimeters. You've seen? Then it will also be 60 centimeters deep. You separate the topsoil with the subsoil. So now he is separating the soil. The topsoil, you put it on one side, and the subsoil now on the other side. That's the subsoil now. You have to note the differences in color. The topsoil is very dark in color. The subsoil is not very dark because it doesn't contain any humus material on top and any manure on top. But the subsoil contains that type of materials. After digging your planting hole, you've separated your topsoil and your subsoil. You've done it properly. Then now you get your well decomposed cow dung manure or well decomposed chicken manure, goat manure or pig manure, as long as it is well decomposed. After that, you mix your manure with your topsoil. Those with a lot of manure, you can be putting 10 kgs of manure in your planting hole. Those without plenty manure, you mix the manure in the ratio 2 shovels of manure to 1 soil of manure. The reason behind that is, one, to keep the moisture content as you plant. So that is now mixing of the manure. Topsoil, please. Then after you've mixed with manure, now you put it back in your planting hole. As you put it back in your planting hole, please note that you should leave a space for water, so that water, when the first rains come, the whole water should be contained in your planting hole. In the middle of the planting hole, you open up a space where you are going to plant your cashew tree. Please note that cashew is a sensitive plant in terms of root system. When the roots are disturbed, the plant will dry off. Hence, your farm will not do well. So what you do, you cut the bottom part first. You slice it off, the bottom part of your polythene pot, using a sharp razor blade or a sharp knife. After removing the bottom part, you place your plant in the hole. You cover one part, not the whole part. After you have covered one part, you slice the plant from the top up to the bottom. After you have sliced it up to the bottom, you cover it now. Please note that after covering it, he is going to pull off the plastic gently, you've seen, without disturbing the soil. The plastic has been pulled. He has not done anything on that plant. So what he will do, he will now get a stick. That stick is called a trainer, so that he trains the tree to grow straight. Then the plastic that he cut will be put on top, so that as the researchers are coming to monitor, they will know that your planting was well done. Note that there's one part of soil that has remained. The other part has finished. So if you've done it correctly, the researchers will know that the other part of soil that is there, this farmer planted very, very well. So from this, now we will get the soil there, and you want to make a basin if you want. Nicely. He's making a basin. Please note that he has not placed the plant with his feet or his hands. What will place the plant is the water that is going to use for watering. He is going to water his plants with at least enough water, 20 liters per planting hole. Please note that this water is put when you have no rains. No wonder we encourage our farmers to plant during the onset of the first rains, so that the plants receive rains for about 3 to 4 months. Then they get established. For those with funds to do the irrigation system, you can do your irrigation system and start applying water with your irrigation system. For a poor farmer like Mr. Kabesanu there, who is standing there, you need to wait for the first rains. Say, first week of December, you plant. Then the rains will do its job from December, January, February, up to March. Then what follows will be the agronomic activities. Farmers, that is how your cashew plant should be tended from your pre-germination bed to planting in the field. 2 to 3 years later, our cashew seedling or our cashew tree will start fruiting depending on the material that you have used. If you have used a grafted material, it will give you fruits in 2 years. But if you have used a seed that is improved and called polyclonal, it will give you your nuts in 3 years. For now, for those of you who have not seen a cashew nut fruit before, let me take you through to where you will see the fruit and some of the products that come out of that fruit. Dear farmers, welcome to the last stage of cashew planting, cashew research and development. You've planted your field, and this field has more than 70 trees. So, if you don't do your proper agronomic practices, that is fertilization or manuring, pruning, thinning, your pest control, you have different forms of trees. Before me is a tree that has poor nutritional content. So if you don't give your trees proper nutrition, you are going to have this type of tree. If you are not pruning your trees, you are going to have such type of a tree. Look at the tree. It's not properly pruned. How do you harvest your fruits? All the branches are falling down, and there's nothing you can do there. Probably even other reptiles can be found underneath that tree that may cause harm to you. So let us do proper agronomic practices as we plant our trees so that we can harvest the best of the best. Farmers, as we are talking about our agronomic practices, the trees that are well tended and those that are not tended. This is a good tree that is well tended. When it starts fruiting, the fruit looks like this. You've seen it's a little bit, it's green and bigger than the apple. As the nut starts maturing and getting ready, it turns its color to red or yellow, depending on the progeny. Then, when it matures, you don't pluck it from the tree. You leave it to drop on the ground. When it has dropped, that indicates that your fruit and the nut are now mature. Then you can pick them from the ground. After picking them from the ground, you see, this is the nut. This is the nut. And the yellow part or the red part is the fruit. So from this fruit, it is further processed into cashew, apple juice. This fruit, the red part, it is the one that is richer in vitamin C than your pineapples, richer in vitamin C than your apples, and it can be further processed into other products. So this is an example of the juice that has been processed from the apple from Simulumbe Research Station under the Zambia Agricultural Research Institute. It's 100% fruit juice. Please enjoy.
Indeed, cheers.
Cheers.
Away from the fruit here, you processing it into juice. Then the nut itself, what happens to the nut? I can remove.
You can remove
so that the viewers can see.
Yeah.
So they are a bit hard,
Okay.
huh? So this is the cashew nut itself. What happens to the nut?
The cashew nut itself is processed into what we call kernel. Okay. This thing that you are seeing on top is a shell. That shell has what we call cashew nut shell liquid. That is processed into oil. That oil is richer in what we call secondary metabolites.
Okay, so at the institute here, do you also process the oil in this nut?
As the institute, we have not yet started processing, okay. But we only do the drinks. Okay. We have a processing plant that is not yet handed over to the institute. We shall be processing the kernels when the processing plant is handed over officially.
All right.
So that kernel has a lot of products that the Zambians will know as we start processing. Okay. For economic values, I encourage you to grow cashew nuts. At least have a minimum of 4 hectares.
Okay. Thank you so much for having us here. This is indeed a green gold. We have seen the good man here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Of course, Zambia is a rich nation, not just from the copper, but from the cashew nuts as well. Until the time that we are going to start processing the oil and start also exporting, we are going to wait for that time, sir.
Sure,
yes,
madam.
Of course, but we are rich in waiting.
We are. I'm telling you, Zambia is very rich. Just wait,
yes.
And we will be able to notify everyone on what we are getting from this.
Of course, and the cashew nuts add to the economic development of the nation. Thank you so much. That's what we had for you on Let's Go Farming this particular day. Until next time, keep watching ZMBC.